A classmate brought happiness to the family. Sarah rarely visited her home village after graduation. She studied at the university, worked, then spent 3 years caring for her sick mother-in-law, and then divorced her husband. She visited her relatives, but had no time to walk around the village. And when I turned 40, I was so homesick that I decided to travel to my native places to remember my youth, especially since she was driving her own car. At home, she asked about all her classmates, how they lived, who stayed in the village, and who went to work. She visited her friend with whom she had shared a desk for 8 years. I found him at the farm, working with the cattle. I didn't recognize him at first, overgrown, unshaven, with dirty hands, dirty and torn clothes. "Excuse me, I'm looking for Jack." "Is that you, Jack?" "Yeah, Can't you recognize me?" "No, I didn't want to offend him. I just didn't think I'd see you in this state. You always went to school looking like you were the envy of all the other boys. Clean, neat, and trimmed. And then his wife came into the yard. When she saw Sarah, she invited her inside. It was clean, beautiful. Jack's wife set the table for tea. They sat down. And then Jack entered the house in the same clothes he wore on the farm. As soon as he crossed the threshold, his wife started screaming, "You fool, where are you going? At least wash your hands." She began to complain to Sarah about Jack, saying that she couldn't stand him anymore because she had to live with such a fool who needed such happiness if only someone would take him away for 6 months. "And what about your household? You treat me like a slave. You're always short of everything. And what will the children say when they have nothing to load into the car?" Jack said with irony in his voice. "Jack," Sarah winked at him, "let's pack your things and go to my place. I'll wash you, cut your hair and make you look human, find you a good job at the factory, and let your wife take a break from you." The man looked at Sarah for a while, and then got up and left the house. A few minutes later, he returned with a bag in his hands, and then his wife burst into tears. "You stupid lady, you want to have a man? You kicked out your own, and now you're staring at mine. Take that!" And she made a big face. "You just said you didn't want him. I didn't say much. Get out of my house." Sarah stood up silently and quickly walked to her car to avoid laughing. A year later, Sarah came to visit her family's graves. At the cemetery, she met Jack, a completely different person. He came up to her and took her hand. "Thank you," he said. "Everything changed for us. We sold the whole farm. I found a job. My wife is also working now, and we are doing well. Don't be offended by her." He smiled.